Hello, everyone, and welcome to Internet Dads. We are back. How are you?
Very good, mate. I can't complain. Yourself?
I'm all right. It's not my lucky day today.
Why so? I feel like this is a common complaint. It's always a bad day. Isn't it?
Every now and again. It's just sometimes I think in life you have to acknowledge when it isn't necessarily going your way. And today is one of those days.
What's happened?
I managed to get to the gym this morning. Just as I go in, I got quite lucky in as much as I pressed the shower, about to get in before having a swim, all the power went off. So lucky, 5 seconds later, I'm soaking wet. But I basically had to leave. I stood outside for ages. It was just a real nuisance.
Wait,
really,
power in the
power in the
lights,
gym.
everything gone?
Everything gone.
So you had to get out what?
I had to get dressed using the torch to get dressed in the change room. Yeah, it's a nightmare.
Well, it's better than having to go out in your budgie smugglers, though.
Exactly. I mean, that's
I reckon you probably wear budgie smugglers as well.
I do wear the shorter. I'm the purveyor of the shorter swimming trunk, but not quite that short.
But so you were outside, back in your... Was your stuff in the gym still? Did you get to go
some
to the
stuff
gym?
was still in the gym, which is why I had to loiter. And then I went back in, had a shower and came to meet you. But it's fine. Sometimes in life, you just go, it's not my lucky day. I'm going to get home. I'm going to make it. I'm going to get through today, and tomorrow will be a new dawn.
So you went to the gym for a shower, basically?
Exactly that. And I travelled a long way. I put a lot of effort.
Yeah, your gym's not local, is it?
No, I put a lot of effort in. Not good. How are you?
But I think what you just said is good. If you can pivot that into a positive, take those...
There is no positive.
No, there is. I do this thing. If something bad like that happens to me, what I try and do is I go either A, is this a karmic debt to the universe? Have I done something to deserve this? If so, I've repaid the debt, so I'm back onto equilibrium. Or you look at even better, I'm now owed some luck. So that means, especially with your poker players, some luck might come round.
Okay.
I'll take the bad hit because I know
you've put a good spin on it. But sometimes I think you just have to say in life, it's not my day.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, hopefully it gets better.
Fingers crossed. Mate, it's already improved. How are you?
Well,
tell me the news, the gossip, the scandal.
I mean, if you can't tell from my glorious tan, this is a tan version of Spencer.
Was it raining?
It did one day. I got back from holiday. We had a nice little holiday with the family. Went on a cruise.
Oh, well, I've never been on a cruise.
That was my first time. And I could tell you all about it, I think. But, you know, we had our kids on there, obviously. Alex with my parents as well. So it was a proper family cruise.
Yeah, lovely.
But, you know, when you get back from a holiday, you get home, everyone's knackered, especially we'd been delayed. The plane had been delayed. There was traffic on the way home.
Painful.
The kids had been good as gold, to be fair, but they were at their wits' end. And you get home and you're knackered, you're hungry, and you open the fridge and there's nothing in there. And you just want something to eat, but you've not done the shopping.
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got a solution for this problem.
I think this could be the perfect time to talk about today's sponsor, HelloFresh. That's right. HelloFresh is offering you 50% off of your first box and 20% off for the next 2 months. Plus, Spencer, free dessert for life.
And all you guys have got to do is scan the link on the screen and use the code IDP50.
I genuinely do use HelloFresh. 3 times a week we get it. And I know, I love it. What it does is it guarantees you a healthy, affordable meal 3 times a week.
Very much so. And, you know, I'm someone that does not like waste in any shape or form. What I like about this, you've got quality and you've got quantity. You can get the exact right amount for you. You know, we talk about having an empty fridge when you get home. The other thing I hate is when you get home and you've got food that you didn't eat before you left.
Yeah.
You left, and this allows you to plan your week properly.
No, and also when you go on holiday, you can just pause your subscription.
Yes.
Which is really good. It's also got a really nifty app. You can just do it on the move.
It's one of the few apps you actually have.
It's one of the few apps I genuinely have and use on a fairly regular basis. I always select the one that I know I can cook because I'm not particularly good either. So there is a section on the app where it's for speed and efficiency. I only give her that menu, and then when it arrives, not only has she chosen it already, but she can help me cook it.
Yeah, you're getting a win-win of she's part of the fun, getting to choose the food, but you know she's choosing from a mixture of healthy options. It's not like she's choosing the bad stuff. So
plus, you know that card that you get in there. In fact, I might even have one. Yes, look at that. You really can't go wrong. Everything that you possibly need, step by step, meticulously laid out. Even a Wally like me could do it.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Click the link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen now for a taste of HelloFresh. You can get 50% off your first box, 20% off the next 2 months, and free dessert for life.
This special offer is available for new customers as well as those who have cancelled their subscriptions 12 months ago or more. And thank you very much to HelloFresh. Right, Spencer, how was the cruise? I've never been on one and they've always fascinated me.
So, well, a couple of things really. First of all, it's perhaps me being uninitiated here. I just assumed you got on the cruise from England. Like you don't. You can do that.
Right?
Yeah, it's obviously a bit long. Depends where you're going. So we flew. So we flew to Corfu in Greece and then picked it up from there and flew home from Greece. So actually, you're doing a cruise and you're doing a flight, which is not that big a deal unless you've got kids. Kids obviously changed everything. I will say my kids have always been really good on flights. My oldest had a bit of a meltdown on the way back. He had a bit of a funny tummy. There was a bit of turbulence coming in. And it wasn't like one of those where you're annoying everyone else on the plane, but he was, unlike him, saying he's going to be sick. He actually did end up being sick quite a lot as soon as we got home.
Oh.
He's so good as gold, bless him, right? So he said he was going to be sick on the plane. Wasn't. We had the bag ready and everything. Wasn't. Had a bit of a tummy ache, sort of chilled out in the car. And then we were literally half a mile from my house. We're on the high street, which was a bit slow moving. He's going, come on. He doesn't complain ever really about this sort of thing. But he's like, come on, get home. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, I'm going to be sick. And I'm like, oh, bless him. So we got Alex out of nowhere, found his carrier bag. He got it all in the carrier. And this isn't stuff people like hearing about, but he got it all in the carrier bag, like quite a lot as well. Didn't spill anything in the car anywhere. And then got out the car and he's like, oh, you're 1 mile from the house. And he was just drained and he just wanted to sit and he sat and watched TV with a sick bowl in front of him. No. It was fine. It was just all the travel and stuff.
Was it your car?
It was my car, but again, he didn't get any. He's all in the bag.
Thank God.
Yeah, because it collects and stinks.
Do you know I've bought a car? But that's what I've done this week. I've bought a car. Bought a car yesterday.
Electric, I believe.
And
no, hybrid.
No. It was that was the plan, but it's now petrol.
Oh,
last minute change of direction. And
you're going to regret that off the traffic lights, mate. I'm telling you, off the traffic lights, electric cars, nothing like it.
But what, in terms of pace? I don't drive, mate. I drive 2 miles below the speed limit. Anyway.
I will say this: one of my best pals and my younger brother, both big motorheads, love cars. I've never been into.
No, I'm not into cars.
My best pals was like a go-kart champion growing up. He used to be him and Lewis Hamilton, same year, going head to head.
Lewis Hamilton driving a go-kart.
No, you all start in go-karts.
Go-karts.
What do you think you're doing? You're 12. Drive Lamborghinis around.
Lewis Hamilton doesn't drive go-karts.
Well, how do you think he became a world-class driver?
By driving Formula 1 cars.
When he was 12?
Yeah.
No, they drive go-karts. All of the Formula 1 guys start on go-karts, mate.
What? Really?
You really don't know much.
See him on the Dodgems.
So my pal and Lewis were two of the best in their age group in the country. And this is my pal's sort of, violin moment. Like, he's a big lad. He's like 6'2", whatever. He was never going to... Yeah, it's even at that age, you're spending like $100,000 a year on your car and your team, like to get everything going. So he wasn't getting the sponsors in the end because he was going to be too big to drive a Formula 1 car.
Oh, right. That's good. Is that a thing?
Yeah, you're like...
I'm glad about that. I'm glad that they're penalised for saying.
Yeah, if you are a big lad, you're never going to be a horse rider.
Jockeys are short. Driver. If you walk around Newmarket, I'm a tall man.
But it's about weight though, isn't it? If you're in a cart, it's extra weight.
What, a Formula 1 driver's short? Lewis Hamilton is short.
5'8" is the average.
Lewis
height,
Hamilton, part of my club.
I think he's 5'8", 5'9".
Geezer.
I don't know if that's classed as short or not, but my pal was definitely bigger. But anyway, he's a very good driver. He's had a whole career in motorsport, journalism, making content, does a lot in the rally stuff. He loves cars. He's trying to get me into cars for life. I've never cared about cars. Just getting used to A to B, as far as I'm concerned. I would say having an electric car has completely changed that.
I've got an electric car.
Yes, do you know what it's like then? The quick burst.
Yeah, but I'm not a fast driver. I don't go anywhere. I mean, I literally just.
If you're in the wrong lane at a roundabout or a traffic light, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
and that's probably not the most responsible driving, but I'm not doing it on purpose. But if I look along and they haven't got a green number plate, it's already over. They haven't got the green number plate.
What is that? The signifier of an electric car?
Yeah,
green
nowadays, some of the early ones didn't have it, but now if it's electric, it has a green edge on the number plate.
Didn't know that.
That's what it means.
No, so I thought we needed a new car, right? Because the car that I drive is a complete banger.
Is that gone now? You got rid of it?
Still there. It's you can't get rid of it because nobody would want it. It's
not
unbelievable.
that old. You told me it's only like 10 years old.
It's a banger though. I haven't treated it well, and this is now the point. My daughter was given free rein in that car. She was allowed to eat. Do you know what my wife does, which drives me mad? The school is a stone's throw away from the house. When my wife picks her up, she takes a drink and a snack. I was like, why does she need a drink and a snack? She'll be home in about 7 minutes. She doesn't need a drink and a snack. She's in the back. She's like a little piglet, scoffing and it's everywhere, right? This new car, food and drink, and children, in fact, are banned completely.
You're going to keep that going, you reckon?
I'm going to keep it going. And there's like the odd occasion where we're going to have to, I'm already dreading a holiday. I'm not dreading the holiday. I'm really looking forward to the holiday, but I'm dreading the mechanics of getting to the holiday and whatever else, right? Going to have to park at Heathrow and somehow I'm going to have to get my daughter in the car with my other daughter who's a baby and nobody is allowed any food. That's part of the reason I bought this new car, to get me to the airport. It's got a bigger boot and stuff. No food in the car. What is this nonsense? I don't understand it. Why do people do it in the cinema?
It depends how long
eating.
Depends how long the car journey is. You might need some at time.
You stop. If it's long enough to warrant a meal
God, you
stop.
sound like it'd be fun on car journeys. Bloody hell.
If it's,
Don't go on
you
holiday
don't
with
eat-
Rory.
I don't understand why people feel the need to graze everywhere.
I mean,
like they're a
would
cow.
you never? So I'll be honest with you. I literally eat in the car all the time.
Never eaten in my
whilst
car.
driving as well.
What do you eat?
Apples.
Well, you just
chicken.
driving along, eating.
I'll stop in a petrol station and buy packs of meat and just eat them with my hands, slices of meat.
You're so fucked up.
I'm a caveman.
That's mental. That's just mental. Anyway, got this new car, petrol, Volvo.
Proper dad car, that.
I know. It really is, isn't it? 2 doors.
Nothing wrong with it. I had a Volvo
It's
for a while.
suburbia.
Yeah, it is very much.
But mate, it's lovely. I didn't know. When I was young, Volvos were all
They were all
boxy,
the station wagon type
boxy.
thing. Yeah. They're pretty
This
decent.
is, mate, it's just sick.
My first electric car was a Volvo we released for a while, and that was the first time I experienced.
I didn't realise they were so much more
power.
expensive, the Volvo, because the electric.
Yeah.
The electric to the petrol one. I was going to get the electric. I don't really care. But it was so much more expensive.
But
I
you
was
are
like,
making
this is stupid.
after you hit a certain amount of miles, you're making a saving.
Yeah, it's cheaper.
Increased
to charge
purchase
or whatever,
price.
but yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, God, we've stopped talking about the cruise. We go back to the cruise. So yeah, sorry. Flight was fine. Got to Corfu. Then you get on a coach, which takes you to the obviously where the ship is from the airplanes. It's a bit of a palaver.
This is
if I'm
all
honest.
an ag, isn't it?
It's only because you got kids though. Like if you were there and you didn't have kids, I think that you wouldn't even be bothered about this.
Mm.
And you get there, and so one thing I will say is this. So we took my mum and dad out. My mum and dad love cruises. They've been on like, I think 6 this year. They're in that stage in their life.
Been on
Where
6
they're
cruises?
just loving it. It's really interesting.
Month are we in?
No, like, I think it actually is 6. I'm not even joking. It's almost comedy. They're doing like one a month. But it's funny because, so my granddad, I think I mentioned it a few times. He was
The
a
murderer?
He was the alleged murderer was a great granddad. Let's
Right.
get that straight. And it's alleged. And if you say anything else, I'll see you in court. Right? But my actual granddad, he was a seafaring man. He was a big Navy man. He was stationed in Malta for a while, Prince Philip, all that stuff. And then his actual job after leaving the Navy, he's working for cruise lines, everything about boats. And he loved being on the water.
Uncle Albert.
He had a boat. He used to have in Colchester. He used to take us out on it. Like very sad day
Seaman.
when he had to give up the boat. Yeah. And but they went on loads of cruises. You know what's something mad? And this people will not understand this, right? Let me tell you. My nan and granddad were not wealthy. They were working class people. He had a company house that he was allowed to live in when he worked for, I think it's called Thomas Allen, the cruise line, right? It was quite a good job he had there. He was allowed to live in. When he retired, they gave him the option of buying it for £12,000, right? I think this is in like maybe early 2000s or so, I don't know. He said no. For whatever reason, my granddad never owned a property. He always believed in, and then we're not talking about now when it's hard to own properties. It was, you could own properties back then. He had this idea of this sort of no shackles. I just want to be able to rent and maybe because he liked going to the sea so much. I don't know. So he never owned a property. Turns out he spent, and like I say, he wasn't a wealthy man, but he spent every penny he basically ever had on going on cruises. Did you know when he died and we were cleaning out his flat? This is baffling, but it only makes sense when you realise it's over a period of like 40 years. He spent £1 million on cruises. Now, for me
Then
to say,
as well,
for me
by
to
the
say
way.
he's not a
People
wealthy
didn't
man.
have millions of pounds back then.
For me to say he's not a wealthy man, people would be like, hang on, no, he wasn't a wealthy man. Do the maths, right? What is £1 million over 40 years?
No, but his earnings would have not been anything like. He would have been earning shillings.
I
At one
know,
point.
everything he spent, and there's a couple of things there. So everything he spent went on cruises. He also had this this sort of pension thing from the company he'd worked for so long. So I think he has maybe some offers and discounts and things. But most of it was their drinks bill. This is what I found with these cruises. A lot of older people go on there and they just have a bloody good time.
That'd be my drink.
And you know, I don't really drink anymore, but I drank quite a lot on that boat because it was all free ciders. I was having a great time. And so what I would say is, so I think it's something almost like genetic. My mum, I think, is feeling the sea call her because her dad was this seafaring guy.
See that.
So they're just loving the cruises. So we decided to go on one with them. For a couple of reasons. One, I thought it'd be a really nice way to spend time with the grandparents, especially with the kids doing that. 2, I knew my mum and dad would love it. 3, we wanted to treat them because there's no trips I could take them on that would ever make up me even with them and the stuff they've done for me in my life.
Yeah, of course.
So it's nice to do it. So we did it. And, but crucially, obviously it was during term time. So I think it would have been a very different experience for us as parents of young children if we'd gone in a school holidays.
It'd cost you a lot more as well.
It probably would, yeah, that's definitely true. But there was 2 children on the boat.
What, yours?
No, okay, I'm talking about my oldest's age. There was a kids club on the boat, and that was part of the appeal for us. We can send our kids club. It was kid club. because it was just
He's in
my
there on his
boy
own.
in there. There was one other boy. Like, so
I hope they get on.
yeah, he was a nice boy actually. He's a nice little lad. But the point is, like, it's not quite the same, is it? When you've got a hustling, bustling kids club.
There's meant to be like an ambience for the kids. There's meant to be like friendship and discos and whatever else going on.
But it's a double-edged sword because you're very lucky when you've got kids of non-school age that you get to do those trips in those time. It is cheaper, like you say, and you're not confined by the school holiday.
Mate, it's mental, the difference. The rip-off that happens was the second that the school holidays start. It's wild.
There's no way around it.
There's no way around it.
Unless you're homeschool.
Unless you homeschool.
Aha.
But there is no way around it if you don't homeschool.
No. And so I think we'd have had a different experience if it had been a non-term time, and maybe the kids would have had more things going on at their level. It was much more adult. It wasn't just adult, it was much more older adult. So I think it wasn't just the kids.
Were you the youngest adults on the
really
boat
were.
by a
No,
mile?
there was like genuinely one, maybe two other couples that had like babies.
Yeah, it's like going in
And
a
then there
bingo
was, like,
ball.
Couple people that were like us with their parents, but average age on the boat, I would say, probably was 55, 60.
Really?
Average. A couple people pushing that up.
And that's with your kids pulling it down.
Yeah, so, but no, really, really good, really fun. So we stayed in loads of places. Went to Athens, saw all the, was it the Parthenon
Acropolis
and all the
that.
Acropolis. We went to, is it Kurdasi or somewhere in Turkey? We went to Santorini.
Lovely. We'll go to a wedding
couple other spots. Yeah, so a few people get married there. What I'll say, again, these things I didn't know, maybe good intel for anyone considering a cruise. Obviously, the cruise generally is going to like stop where the boats go. It's not necessarily where
the tourists
the
go.
best beaches
Yeah.
or whatever. So sometimes you're getting off the boat and then you're getting a cab somewhere. If I was to design my perfect cruise, because this was like, it was a couple of days at sea and then it was a day in a place, you can get off the boat at 9, got to get back on by 4 p.m.
Yeah.
I would prefer go to a place, spend a night in that place.
Yeah.
So you get like 40 hours in that place. I mean, you can spend a night off boat if you wanted to get an Airbnb or something, or you can just come back to the boat in the evening, go back. It was very flying visity.
Yeah.
We weren't necessarily getting off the boat at 9 a.m. at the earliest opportunities. We were getting off at like 11, 12. We've got to be back in 3 hours.
Yeah, it sounds like a very proactive holiday.
There's a lot of logistical things to consider. But no, it was good, man. There was a nice little gym and spa on there. There's a sauna that was looking out to the sea constantly.
That's
It was
beautiful.
90-degree sauna, huge, beautiful. I had some time in there. I've got loads going on at the moment work-wise, so that I wasn't able to unwind as much as I would have liked or help out.
So were you working? Were you...
Just a lot of it, I was doing a few calls and things, but a lot of it just weighs on my mind, to be honest. When there's a lot of strategic decisions happening right now, and I'm someone that maybe struggles to turn their brain off. So I wasn't able to sit and really enjoy it as much as I think I should have. But we're kind of getting to the light at the end of the tunnel now. We're doing this raise at Hashtags. We're trying to raise money. And we're opening it up to the public soon. So I've had to have a lot of big discussions, private people, trying to get some momentum. It's going well, but it's like taking over my life.
Yeah.
Like this week, I haven't been to bed before 3 a.m.
So is Alex doing the majority of the
Doing everything.
parenting at the moment?
I feel terrible about it. I literally had a conversation with her this morning. I said, Al, I can't help you. Like I can if we bin everything off,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to do that. So like, I just feel really bad. And I've got the 2 trips coming up for work as well that I've got to do. Off the back of those 2, then we go to America for this tournament. I've also got just loads of other commitments.
Life in a fast lane. You want to be like me, mate. Life in a bus lane. I do very I do very little. I basically go from northwest London to northeast London on the overground. That's it.
Well, I feel like we're in the eye of the storm right now. It's not normally like this, and it wouldn't be fun if it was always like this. But it's a big once in a lifetime sort of thing we're trying to do with the club at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's fine. But yeah, in the parenting aspect, I do feel bad because Alex is doing it all. The kids are at a fairly troublesome age. Like my oldest is tantrum.com at the moment. And then maybe that's a result of me not doing as much at the minute, you know. And then you've got some people in the family that aren't particularly well at the moment as well. So it's all weighing on us. I do feel bad, but a couple of weeks, hopefully we'll be through it.
Good. Good. And are you feeling good about everything else? Is it all going to plan with the...
I think so.
People are very interested in this hashtag story, I think.
Yeah, we're doing something like a bit different. You know, well, I think we should have done it years ago in hindsight. We're basically giving the fans the chance to buy shares in the club. And so what that means is they can do it for as little as £20. So you've got a lot of people just doing your sort of £20, feel part of the journey, be a co-owner, but not necessarily anything more than that. And then as they invest more, there's more perks they unlock. And then we're having some private discussions with like wealthy individuals that want to come in and actually potentially have a seat on the board with me and the fellow co-owners and actually really run the club together. So that's significant investment people are making. So there's a lot of due diligence. There's a lot of stuff we have to provide them. I made this like really big deck explaining what we're doing with the club and stuff. So it's good. It's all good stuff to do, but also not really my forte. I say this to all the guys. I'm saying this has to be the last time I do this sort of thing for hashtag. We need to now professionalize and bring in people that are like
proper business chat.
Investors. I'm a creative person. That's what I do.
See, at least you've got something. This is good. At least you know what you're not.
Yeah.
And you know what you are. I'm just a chancer. I just hope for the best.
No, I think you know where you are.
I don't know. I hope for the best. Like, you know, I kind of got a football podcast, talk about football, but people would suggest I don't know what I'm talking about. I've got a parenting podcast. The implication of having a parenting podcast would suggest I know what I'm talking about. I mean, I nearly lost my daughter this week. Well, I did lose my daughter this week.
In what way?
I lost her. Like the way that you would lose a biro or a mobile phone.
Where'd you leave her?
In my defence, it was her fault. It
always is.
Well, yeah, she walked off. But I was chatting to another dad, and she walked off. And do you know what? There was this real like awful moment where like she's wild, Clementine. Like my Pandora, calm, easy, predictable. Like you set your watch by her, despite the fact that she's 3 months. We're so lucky. Clementine always was wild, untamable, complete loose cannon. And that continued. Do you know what? So me and this other little kid called Darcy, me and the dad are talking. Darcy and Clementine are now nowhere to be seen.
Your world is like you've gone in some sort of time portal. You've got Clementine and Darcy.
Clementine and Darcy. Yeah. Yeah. Charles
like
Dickens. Yeah.
Tom Hardy novel.
I'm talking to the dad, right? And the dad is... We've suddenly realised that neither of us can see. We're kind of walking through the grounds of the school. We're kind of walking, and we suddenly realised I can't see my kid. So I'm when you do that calm thing, everything's fine, but you get a bit twitchy, and you're like, "Yeah, has anyone seen?" We're like trying to keep it all really calm.
Yeah.
The school crosses a road, like a very small road that you like. The small school is one side, the larger side of the school is the other side. The other dad went to me, Darcy wouldn't have crossed the road. And I went, Clementine might have. Clementine might have done. Yeah, she did.
Oh, really?
And she corrupted Darcy. Darcy was across the road as well.
Darcy, that's not like you.
They were playing, it's called the Mini Titan, right? So in the school, as you progress through the years, through like the infants, the tiny school, the infants thing, it goes like, I don't know, whatever Titan. The Mini Titan, she's not allowed on because it's in the tiny bit of the school. So it's for the tiny kids. She's crossed the road to have a go on the Tiny Titan thing. Tiny Titan, that's what it's called.
What is a Titan?
So a Titan is a climbing frame.
Oh, okay.
It's a climbing frame that's there's meant to be an element of jeopardy to it. The big one there is, you climb in the ropes and whatever. Then there's like a small one that she's allowed on. She's not allowed on the biggest one yet, and she's not allowed on the smallest one because she's not the tiny one. She had crossed the road at an event. I'd completely lost her, and she was in there. She was in the other part of the school, playing on a climbing frame that she's not allowed to play on.
She's a rebel.
Yeah. When I drove home, I was like, I'm not sure, like I didn't want to do this, but I was like, she's in the back. I'm kind of going, do we talk to mum? We might not tell mummy about this. She's up to you, but we probably won't tell mummy.
But ultimately, she's on your watch.
Yeah, mate, I've lost my kid, man. And my kid crossed the road.
Did she look both ways?
Probably not. I've never taught her that because I didn't think she'd cross fucking road.
When I teach, so I actually look back, right? So I often take my dog for a walk with my oldest boy, right? So he's 4 and a bit now. When he was like 3, and I don't know what I was thinking because I did this like 10 plus times. I used to let him hold the lead, right? My dog is a rogue dog.
Yeah.
He never comes off a lead. He's not going to necessarily pull you.
But what he could do, he could charge, and that would pull you.
Charge so. It's one of those extendable leads. I would only let him hold the lead if we were in like a very quiet road, never on the main road or anything. I'd be right next to him. I explained to him how it worked and everything. And actually, he was absolutely fine with it and he loved it, just walking around. One time in our road, Joey ran off and he let go of the lead. And I was like...
It's good that he let go.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, you could have got pulled over there or Joey could have run into... Let's not do this anymore. It's a bit silly, actually.
Yeah.
He's probably years off that, really. But when we are walking along... I'd let him sort of my boy tell me when we should cross the road and stuff. So I did the whole look both ways. And I always tell him one story, which is my dad got hit by a car when he didn't look both ways. He was running across the road, broke his leg when he's like 7. So I always say, don't be like Granddad Steve and break your leg. And, maybe it's it's quite funny, isn't it? You'd never think that at the age of 7, however, 60 years ago, my dad could buy a car, that could be useful
That's
for
the
me.
lesson. That's the lesson now. Yeah,
his
yeah,
grandkid.
yeah.
But you know what? Maybe today's the day, Rory. Maybe today's the day. I've sat on this for many episodes now. You've just reminded me of something. Maybe today's the day where I throw my parents under the bus and I tell you about the time they left me in another country.
They actually left you in another country. This is Home Alone. Kevin McAllister.
7 years old. Coming back from a lovely trip in France.
Oh my God.
Duty free. I've been back there many times. I have PTSD every time I step in there.
Yeah, trauma.
If anyone's gone through, the Eurotunnel at France, they'll know this is like a little duty free right before it. You can get like a Starbucks and a few things there, and some shops. It's one of them where when you're a kid, it's massive. No, I've gone back there now as an adult. It's not that big at all. But as a kid, it was this huge. I thought it was like this huge, almost like shopping centre, which it definitely isn't. So we're coming back now. My dad had one of those, I don't even know what make it is, an old Mercedes, a bit like the old Volvos, long with seats in the back, 7 seats, long sort of bronzy gold colour one. And we were all sitting in there, and we've driven around a lot in that holiday, and I would always like to be in the back. I don't know why, I've always had this thing, I like to be in almost like enclosed spaces. I used to hide in the cupboard at Christmas and all this sort of thing. So I always wanted to be in the back on my own, the covers over me. So we pull in, and everyone's going into the toilet and whatnot, and I go with my mum. My dad goes with the other two. We're all doing our own thing. Now, so me and mum both go to the toilet. Obviously, I'm 7. I'm going to the boys. Mum's going to the girls. We'll meet when we come out here. No problem. I go in, do my business. Just a number one, if you're asking. I come back out. I'm waiting for my mum. I sit down, twiddle my thumbs. Now, to this point, I couldn't tell you who was in the wrong here fully. But for some reason, I decide it's been too long. My mum can't be in there anymore. Like, I've been waiting for a while. She must have gone. So, which is weird. If you think about it, she wouldn't have gone, surely, without me. And I'm not, at 7, you don't walk in the women's toilets.
No.
Like, it's unheard of.
Ever.
So I'm just like, giving it a few minutes. I'm like, no, mum definitely must have gone. So I'll go and find dad and the boys. So I go walking around the shops, and I do find my dad and the boys. And I say, and this is a big mistake. I'm sort of like, where's mum? Oh, she's not with us. And this is where it went wrong. Instead of staying with my dad and the boys, I go, okay, well, I'll go back and get mum then. So I then go back to the toilets. In the meantime, mum wants to come out on that time. She goes back to the car. Dad goes back to the car. When they get back I'm now sitting in the exact spot outside the toilets that I was the whole time I was waiting for mum before. They all go back to the car. Now, this is the probably fundamental should social services have been told moment. For whatever reason, they get back in the car. This is the last part of France. The minute you cross this line, when you go through this guy on the little,
international waters.
thing, even though you're in France geographically, you're actually in England legally. Yeah. Before they get in the car and do that bit, they do a little head count and they just see some covers in the back. And because I used to sleep under the covers, this is their story, they assumed I was there. So they get in the car and drive off. They literally leave France, go through, then they get to the passport guy. And he, luckily, was diligent and says, I've got 5 passports here. Where's the 5th kid? Oh, he's in the back and the covers. Cool. Pull the covers off, not there. Imagine the shock.
Right.
They wouldn't let them go back because diplomatically, they were no longer in France. So they couldn't go back. So my mum, this is how she tells the story. Obviously, I wasn't there for this bit. She basically goes, well, I'm not having that, obviously. You're not the boss of me. Gets out the car and says, I'm just going to run back there. And when she first told me the story, she's like, I was running, jumping over ditches. There was alligators trying to get me. And I was like, I have to get back to my son. I was like, you can't turn this into a positive, mum. The craziest bit, I'll get back to that. So this whole time, I'm still sitting in that seat. Now, I couldn't tell you whether 45 minutes had passed, 2 hours had passed, or 20 minutes. I don't know. But I remember sitting there thinking, something's not right here. But I still would never go in the women's toilets to check. So I'm sitting there. And it must have been an hour at this point. I don't know what. I never actually thought I'd been left behind. I just thought something weird must be going on. I basically thought my mum was having a massive shit. I was like, what's going on? How can she still be in there? And then I hear, it's actually quite funny, I hear them say on the tannoy system, obviously the French accent, will Spencer Carmichael Brown please come to the reception or whatever? And you know how mental this is? The first thing I thought was, what are the chances there's someone else with the same name as me?
Oh, it can't be me. It can't be me.
That was what I thought. I was like, I can't believe, if my mum and dad were here, they wouldn't believe that.
Yeah, when I tell this story, they're all going to laugh at me.
So I leave it a few more minutes, and then she says it again. And I'm like, I think they're talking about me. I'm like, I don't know what. You have to remember, in this moment, I think my parents are in this room still somewhere. Or in this, I don't know, they've gone. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll walk up to the desk and find out. I'm a 7-year-old kid. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm like, hello, what's going on? And this exact moment, my mum comes running through the doors, like distressed, hair everywhere like this. And I kid you not, we literally did like a movie thing, slide across the floor. I, in that moment, understood exactly what had happened. I saw my mum say, I was like, oh my God, they left me behind. And I started crying my eyes out because I suddenly realised my mum's crying her eyes out because she probably thought I might have been kidnapped.
Yeah,
I could have been.
yeah.
And we start running towards each other, literally across the opposite ends of this duty free, knee slide to each other, hug. Like if it had a music soundtrack behind it, it would be the end of a Richard Curtis film. Like we're cuddling each other, crying our eyes out. And and I literally don't. I'm not angry because I literally am so shocked this has happened. I'm like crying. She's like, "You're okay. You're okay. You're okay." Anyway, the best bit about the whole story is my dad just carried on driving.
Oh, he went back?
No, he just
went home?
He went onto the Channel Tunnel.
Got stuff to do.
So we're going like, we need to get back. They're like, he's on the Channel Tunnel now. We don't even know. We had to get a police escort, right, around these things to get us onto the Channel Tunnel. Get in there. My dad is just in the car, like on the way back to England. I'm like, what's going on here? Because I was a kid, I thought he was going to be angry with me, even though I'd been the one who's left. My dad always tells the story like, I almost got rid of him.
Do you know what though? You know, from your parents' perspective, obviously now I look at it from their perspective. Can you imagine the fear?
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't bear thinking about. Like, your family must have been absolutely petrified. Like, even in my minor experience of it, I was having a nervous breakdown.
Yeah, I mean, I think I still can't quite equate how my dad just carried on driving and got on the Channel Tunnel. Like maybe he had to, maybe they made it.
It was probably a one-way system. What can you do?
Yeah,
no
with my mum, like, yeah, she definitely was. And the funny thing was, she was around my house the other day telling my little boy some stories, and she was telling him a story about how she also once lost Seb, and another story about how she almost lost once Saunders. And I'm thinking, like, something not right.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, we can all do these things, and like you think it's impossible, but actually, you have to be so on it. Yeah. I remember thinking that with my boy walking across the boat. We were always walking around holding hands and that, and like sometimes there'd be a bit of crowd. If I wasn't holding on to his hand tight, you can see how someone could get separated.
Yeah, I mean, I think it can happen, but I just don't know how you actually process it. You know, like that 1 second. You know, the 1 second. If you're in a supermarket and you think that she's there and she's there, you think she's there and all she is there. That 1 second when you've looked there and she's not there, that awakening. It's unlike anything else. You're like a meerkat, aren't you? You suddenly spring into life.
Everything we were talking about it earlier, like it's like when you're ill, everything else goes away. You just want to be healthy. When you think you've lost your kid, like there's nothing else in the world to do. And like I know it's a bit dark, but you hear about these stories of people obviously in the limelight losing their kids, like the McCanns and all these things. And like, listen, who knows what's gone on there and all this drama. Just imagine for 1 second, that is obviously what we've been described has happened, has actually happened, right? Not only have they had to deal with the saddest probably thing that could ever happen to you, they've been ridiculed in the press for years. I don't actually know enough about the story to say 100% it is what it is. Like, I know there's a lot of controversy.
You know what I can't get my head around? I just can't. I can't empathise. You know, when you tell stories about your parenting, generally everything you say on some level, I can rationalise it. Whether I would do it, whether I agree with it, it makes sense to me. What I just cannot get my head around is leaving a child in a room.
It's crazy.
I just can't. There is nothing within me that would ever go out for dinner, drink.
No.
What the?
It makes you wonder how many people, maybe less since that has been so high profile, but how many people have done that and got away with it? Like they were the ones that.
Absolutely.
If everything that happened to them that they say happened, then they obviously shouldn't have done it, but they got so incredibly unlucky as well. Like it's just the worst thing. Man.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think. When I'm at home, the furthest I will stray is the forecourt where we sit out the front. Are you playing out the front? I will have the monitor on with Pandora asleep in the house, and I will sit here, and the door is here. You know, like, so within reception. And I kind of consider that venturing.
Risky, yeah. I was talking to my pal who just had a child, first baby, and it was a premature child, 5 weeks premature, so they're still in that. They had a bit of time in the neonatal, but it's all good, I believe.
Great.
But they in that time at the moment where the baby still can't support its own neck and things, so you're super just nervous about everything, about the covers being over them.
Yeah.
And he's just like, once they get out of that stage, it's been such a relief off. And it is. You go back to that time, like we talk about the things that we're going through with our kids, but the actual birth, the actual delivery, and then the making sure everything's okay. Is terrifying. Just the scariest bit
terrifying.
Ever,
Yeah.
You get these people, man. It's just the saddest thing that the people have. Babies that are born with serious issues or develop an issue later in life. Like touch wood, we haven't experienced anything like that. But that is, I always remember my friend who died when we just finished uni, who my pal growing up, played in our youth team. One of the reasons we started hashtag was we did a match to remember him. And
how did he die?
he got leukemia. He got leukemia out of uni, which is really odd because it's usually like a
Child,
teenage thing,
yeah.
but apparently you get it. Sometimes what happens is you get it as a teenager and it doesn't show itself. And
Jesus
it developed
Christ.
in him like post uni, like 22, 23. Really clever guy, one of the best sportsmen I know. Really good at football, cricket, rugby, and it's actually the reason my dog's called Joey because his name was Joe.
Jesus.
And I always remember going to his funeral and seeing his mum break down in front of everyone. Like, obviously, he'd been ill for a while. It was actually quite sad. We used to go visit him and stuff, and he got better, and then he got an infection from something at the end of after they sent him home, and that's what killed him. But he'd been in a bad state for a while. So even though you can sort of see it coming and sort of prepare yourself for it, and obviously he died however long before the funeral, the emotional breakdown that I saw in that mum, it scarred me.
No,
It just made me think like that is the worst thing that could ever happen.
it is literally the worst thing that could ever happen. There is nothing worse than anything. Like, I would accept anything to happen to me, anything to protect them. Literally anything, whatever it would take to protect them.
No parent should outlive a child, should they?
No.
Obviously happens, but
No. It's horrific. It's also horrific at any point. Like, if, like, say my nan's not well, but if something happened to my mum now, my mum would be like late 60s. It would kill my nan. I don't think this is something that ever changes.
Of course, no, shouldn't.
I don't think this is something this isn't us protecting our tiny children. This is the way that we'll feel about our children when our children are in.
It's not natural, is it? It's not the natural order
No.
of things. It feels unfair.
Yeah.
There's no fair death per se, but it's a tragedy. When anyone dies in the generation below you,
Mate,
it's a
it's
tragedy.
absolutely horrific. Yeah.
And a very good friend of mine just lost his brother recently. Is another tragedy, and adult man, and unfortunately it becomes more common when you get to our age. But it's still a huge tragedy. And obviously left his parents behind and all these things, and you just think there's nothing you can say or do. Nothing you can do.
No. Dealing with that trauma. I mean, touch it. I've been very lucky in life for that. I haven't really had experiences of it, but even as a conversation, even on a TV show, it hits me so hard.
Yeah.
Like, stories that you don't know. When you don't know the person, you don't relate to the person, even just as a concept. Like my friend Roland, a good friend of mine, who we play poker with. He ran the marathon this year and he ran it last year. A cousin of his, died, and I don't know her. I've never met her. But just the story, she would have been 38. And it's just the worst thing ever. Like a young, and I think 38 is still a young death, right? But no, anything like that, I just don't know how people cope.
No.
I really don't. And I think that there are some things that just unite everybody. And this is one of them. Like, it's just horrific stories.
Yeah. My mum lost her best friend when she was probably about our age, actually. And I remember, because she had two young boys, who we weren't particularly close with them, but my mum was really close with her friend. And you think now that, the lads must have been like, I don't know, 3 and 5 or something, that sort of age when they lost her. And like, obviously now, as a parent, I completely get it. Like, and I would have loved the idea of me befriending those boys and something. And I think my mum probably tried to make that happen in some way. There was no natural connection there. It just didn't happen.
Yeah.
Actually. But you just think like, that's the saddest thing. The saddest thing is losing your kid. But if I ever think about my own mortality, the first thing I think of is my boys growing up without me. I don't think about me being dead.
Absolutely.
Like, I would die for them tomorrow if I had to. Like, and I wouldn't regret it.
Yeah.
But the idea of them not having me breaks my heart.
We're back to that primal thing, though, about what fatherhood is, which is obviously one of the most complex things to understand. It's layered. It's impossible for somebody of lacking in the brain capacity that you need to understand this for me to try and do it. But if I were to boil it down, so what is fatherhood? What is it? For me, if it's one word, it's basically protection. That's what I do for my children. That's what I bring to the house. And that can manifest itself in many ways. That can manifest itself in support. It can manifest itself in shelter. It can manifest in many things. But basically, I protect.
Yeah.
If you don't, and it's not this, but if for some reason something horrific happens, I don't see how you continue. I just don't get it. I just don't get how you could proceed in a world where the worst thing ever has happened. I really don't. And that's how I'd feel. And like you just said, I would give anything, obviously, your own life, my own life, for the kids. Like it's the only thing that would really matter. So no, and I think that's why the worry is there. That's why parenthood, as wonderful as it is, it's fraught, it's frenetic, it's full of anxiety. Because effectively all we're trying to do is protect. And it feels like it's becoming more and more difficult because the world is becoming more and more geared up to not necessarily damage and harm, but you're now trying to protect. You know when I was growing up, which isn't that long ago, my mum had a responsibility to protect me from an outside clear enemy, right? Somebody who wanted to do me harm. So my mum would stand in the way. Now it isn't that. Now we almost invite the enemy into the house via a mobile phone. Like I don't play computer game, I never have. But you know what? I just can't get my head around. When I was young and people would have a Super Nintendo and that, what you would have is I'd have a controller, you'd have a controller, we'd plug the controllers into the box, put the cartridge in, and we'd play Mario driving game, right? Launch a turtle at your head or whatever, right? That's what it would be. Do you know what I can't get my head around now? It isn't that now. I could play a computer game against some geezer in America and he can talk to me and I've invited him into my house. And as a parent, you're like, who is this bloke?
Yeah, you're completely right. The counter argument to that is what an amazing time to be alive that you can be connecting with a geezer in America, assuming they're not a scumbag and they're a good person. Yeah. You can make friends anywhere. No, absolutely. The world has never been smaller.
Absolutely. But just strictly looking at it through the lens of protection for this conversation.
Yeah.
Like for my mum to protect me.
Yeah, you can't be letting them
She basically needed to make sure I wasn't bullied at school by an obvious bully, or needed to make sure that I wasn't bullied in the flats by standing away. Now, if I was young now, Mum, I'd have a phone. I'd have.
The world, we were ridiculously fortunate in terms of our age. Like all that stuff, sort of online computer games. I remember Dreamcast came out because I was a big gamer, and that was the first online console.
Yeah, Arsenal, wasn't it?
And that didn't really catch on properly. No. And then it was the next generation of console that really became internet. I was like 16 plus when that all happened.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't vulnerable. Like,
yeah.
I'd play computer games with a person in the room with me or on my own. That was it.
Yeah.
But this is what I was going to say, right? Is I actually think you're not you're preaching to the choir here. I'm the first to preach about social media danger and phones and technology and all this stuff. I also do think though that every generation has this thing. Like the film Footloose is about people worried about people dancing because dancing is going to corrupt them. Like there's always a new thing. Rock and roll is going to corrupt your soul. Or, even when I was younger, it was us playing games like GTA when we were 12, when it was an 18. Like, I'm not taking away. I mean, worrying about dancing and rock and roll is clear lunacy. Yeah. But generally, I'm not taking away from the seriousness of the threat. What I'm saying is that it completely speaks to your whole thing of protecting. We find things to protect against. Are our kids in as much danger as we think they are? I'm basically countering my own argument here.
But as much as I concede what you said there about the internet has given us a wonderful thing, and it's great that you can connect with people all over the world, and you're completely correct about that. The threat is now existentially bigger than it ever was when I was young.
And the opportunity.
Like, let's be totally honest about this. In about 5 years' time, Clementine is going to have a better grasp of social media than I do.
Well, that's not hard.
Exactly.
For you.
Exactly.
Everyone's got a better grasp.
Exactly. That's also the point. I'm not across things. She's going to download an app that I've never heard of and probably be connecting with people who I don't want to. My mum didn't have to worry about that. So whether you are correct, and I don't contest it, you are correct. Yeah, there has always been the concept of a boogeyman, right? There has always been the concept of a boogeyman. It feels now that it's more palpable and real than ever.
Well, I think the big problem we're going through now is we're going through such fast technological change that there is no footprint for this. If there's a new rock and roll come about, we can look back on history and we can sort of go, well, this is how they dealt with that. Or people worried about alcohol, they did abolition. Or is that called abolition?
Yeah, no. Abolition. Yeah, no, prohibition.
Prohibition. Abolition, I think, is to do with slaves. Prohibition, and you can actually study it and go, was that the right thing? We can learn.
It was great. It gave us Al Capone.
Yeah. Gave us great films. But did we learn from it? And should we do that again or should we change it up? With this stuff, it's kind of the first time in human history a lot of this stuff's happening, and we're not finished. Like, and then in 5 to 10 years, this AI, all this stuff, there's going to be more things we haven't even considered yet.
I've got AI.
You've got AI?
I've got it. I downloaded the app. It's fantastic.
We're talking ChatGPT?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. It is actually unbelievable.
It's fantastic. I needed directions. I asked it. I actually pressed the microphone and went, "Take me to Volvo."
You just want the car.
Yeah.
The phone was just take you. I'll follow you.
Take me to Volvo.
Take me to Volvo.
Yeah, Slough.
Please.
And it did. It did.
No, but I think all the talk is basically that if you work in an industry that's being revolutionised by AI, which is happening all over the shop, it's not a case of protecting your current job. It's basically you need to learn how to do everything a million times quicker.
Yeah.
Like this deck I've been putting together for this investment thing, like I didn't realise you can just get ChatGPT to do it now.
Can you really?
It literally wrote most of the deck for me. Obviously, I honed it, and you can even
a
ask
lot
it
of
to
people
make...
out of a lot of work.
Well, I think the difference is now, if I asked you to make a deck for me back in the day, you might take a couple of days, getting all the data, making it good. If you're a good deck maker,
yeah.
you're still going to take some time. If you're now a deck maker, you need to make it for me in 25 minutes because you need to use AI to help you. So we all need to learn how to use it. I'm not a massive proponent of this stuff, but I can't ignore its efficacy. Like it just does work, and it is going to advance things, hopefully for the better. But there's no getting away from it, mate.
This ended up a very deep episode, which wasn't necessarily what we intended.
They always are. They always are. But let us know in the comments below. Have you been on a cruise? What's your experience? Are you worried about the future? Have you used AI to go to Volvo? All these things are good to know. We'll see you in another episode soon. More Dad's Diaries in the next one, perhaps. But take care of yourselves. Don't go changing.